Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and in this video I want to share with you my recent experience with doing an extended juice fast followed by a water fast. And just let me say at the beginning of this, this is not my full area of expertise, and there's a lot of factors involved when you're considering doing especially a water fast. Because sometimes your body might not be ready and you might have some symptoms like dizziness, nausea. I know people who just feel like they can't function, they don't lay on the couch the whole day, but everybody's situation is a little bit different, and their health and their experience with fasting is very different. So let me just say at the beginning this disclaimer that if you have no experience with fasting, even intermittent fasting or juice, I like to call juice fasting really juice feasting, because you're getting all your nutrition through juicing, and it's really like a fast, which is more like a feast. So let me just say that in the beginning, this is not something you take on lightly. There is a preparation and a lead up to doing any type of fasting. So please know that this is my own experience and is not meant to be any type of medical advice. So the reason, there can be several reasons why people do water fasting or even juice fasting. For me, I used to do this at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, and I would actually do juice fasting a lot more often than I did extended water fasting, just because it made me feel so good, and it did feel like a bit of a reset from maybe the foods I was eating, or just simply my body just begs for a break from all of the digesting, processing, eliminating, and it really gives you a different relationship with food when you do some fasting. And in all honesty, even intermittent fasting can change your relationship with food, which I think is really important in today's modern world, because we have not truly adapted biologically to the sheer volumes of food that we eat. You know, eating every 3 hours when we're awake, or even 3 square meals every day, we're not designed to eat that much. And if you look at the health of the majority of modern populations, it's not that great as a percentage. So one of the main reasons that I wanted to do this juice fast followed by a water fast is partly because as I'm getting older, I want to not just feel younger in my body and reset, but I want to feel and be younger in my brain as well. And I think that from all the research that I've done and what fits with me and what my whole plan is, this has always been the best way to do it. Now, what I actually started out when I started this last water fast that I just did this in February. My plan was to do 7 days of juice fasting or feasting, and then 7 days of water fasting. And I've never done as long as 7 days of water fasting. I've done actually longer juicing, just juicing, than 7 days. But I thought, well, 7 days, it will prepare my body. It will get me. I love juicing, and I love just doing maybe 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days of just pure juicing. It makes my body and my brain feel so good. But then the reason I wanted to do a follow off of the juice fasting with water fasting is because there's a few things that your body goes into that's really important. And the biggest word, and you probably have heard this, is your body goes into what's called autophagy. And if a lot of the research that I've done shows that sometimes autophagy starts at the 18-hour point, but it really kicks in at the 24-hour point for most people, and then it continues through 36 hours, 48 hours, and so on. So my goal to go into autophagy and keep it there for a while is for things like cancer prevention. And you go into this cleanup state where your body gets rid of old dead cells and old dead proteins, and this is the whole purpose of, I think, when you learn about these things that help us have longevity, and then you plan for it, you prepare for it, you get in the mindset, and you do short fasting. You start with intermittent fasting. Then you really start to realize how different you can make your health. And, for me, it's not about losing weight, even though, I always lose 2 or 3 pounds. That to me is not the reason to do fasting. The reason to do fasting is for health, for longevity, for mental clarity, for focus. It is literally a reset of your body's systems, and that is the main reason I do it. So if you've never done fasting of any type, I would suggest that you start with intermittent fasting, where you start with the breakfast meal, skip that meal, and then maybe, if that's really difficult, this is brand new for you, and you're used to eating like at 7 or 8 or even 9 o'clock, maybe wait till 10, and then wait until 11, and then maybe wait till 12. Intermittent fasting basically puts your feeding window in a shorter period of time. So, a lot of people believe that an 8-hour window or even a 6-hour window where you're eating is an optimal way to do intermittent fasting. And the benefits that you get are crazy and insane, especially if you add the component of exercise in there. So if you get up in the morning and you do exercise and then you don't eat until say 11 or 12, and then you have your last meal of the day like at 6 o'clock in the evening, the benefits honestly will blow your mind. But again, this is where you need to really know your own body and your own mindset, and you might have some health issues going on. You might be on some medications that could interfere. So please know that this can be very, very individualized, and you might need to get some guidance and someone to help monitor you. And I know there's actually places you can go where you can do guided fasting, where you actually go stay somewhere and they guide you through certain length of times of fasting, where they take all of your blood pressure and your fasting glucose levels, and they measure everything so that you really can go into this in a safe way. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of my experience and what with all of that stuff, and the disclaimer right there. So what I did before I even started the juice fast, I did a little bit of a detox on some of my organs. So I typically do a liver detox or cleanse about once every 3 or 4 or 5 months. It just depends. And I have a product called LiverLove that's my favorite liver detox support nourishment supplement. So I went through a bottle of LiverLove. At the same time, I increased my intake of broken cell wall Chlorella, which is a heavy metal chelator. It helps your body release heavy metals through your urine. So I typically do 4 a day. I do 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon or evening. And I actually increased that, and I've been doing broken cell wall Chlorella for many, many years. So my body is very familiar with it. Because some people will have a little bit of detox symptoms from taking Chlorella. So you need to start a little bit slow. But I increased mine to 10 capsules a day. And I just did, and this was in my preparation for my juice fast. So I did a bottle of LiverLove. I actually ended up going through a couple of bottles of the Detoxifier, which is the Chlorella. And then I also did a colon cleanse, just because I wanted to get everything kind of, the organs reset, clear out some heavy metals, really give some nourishment and detox for my liver, and do a really good colon cleanse just to, get everything just in a nice place. And this is just what felt right for me based on my experience and my knowledge with fasting for myself. And then what I did, and I have a pretty big supplement routine that I do, and I've detailed that out before in a couple of videos. I did one a couple of years ago, right after I turned 60. So that's still pretty much intact, and it's as far as exactly what I do. But I have a pretty comprehensive list of supplements that I take on a daily basis. So my goal was to not do any of those during the juice fasting, and then also especially during the water fasting, because I wanted my body not to digest or process or really have anything to eliminate, because I wanted to go into repair and regenerative mode. You know, I want to clear out those cancer cells, give my body a chance to release old proteins and old cells and stimulate the stem cells and just everything that happens when your body goes into a fasting mode, which is really so simple to, if you really think about the concept of that. Our modern world keeps us always fed. We're always fed. So what I did is I did the cleansing with the smooth cleanse for the colon, LiverLove for the liver, and then I did Detoxifier, and I increased that so that I could really clear out the heavy metals. And then I started on my, what was meant to be a 7-day juice fast. And I have this favorite recipe. It is very simple. I'm going to put it below this video. And you can always find good recipes that work for you. You can do multiple different things. But there's a couple of really simple ones that are my favorite. They're my go-tos. I feel like they make me feel good. And they just give me mental clarity. They give me focus. And it keeps my energy levels super, super high. In fact, anytime I've done any extended juice fasting, even on day 1, I feel good. And then on day 5, I feel amazing still, because I'm getting all this nutrition, but my body's getting this massive rest from just all the bulk of all the things that we typically eat. And one of the nice things is that any type of inflammation that I might have going on goes away completely when I'm doing any type of fasting. And also, the whole idea of fasting puts me in the mindset of dialing my nutrition back in on a really high level, because it reminds me of how good I feel when I do. And I think we tend to slip into these old habits, which is super, super common, right? Okay, so I started on my juice fast. Here's my recipe: cucumbers, celery. I like to do romaine lettuce, and I'll typically get a head of romaine lettuce and juice that whole thing. I like to put an apple. I like to sometimes put a slice of ginger root, and I always put a lemon in it. And I just put the whole thing through my juicer. It typically makes about a quart, and sometimes that will get me through most of my day. And I'll drink, of course, a whole bunch of water during the day as well. Now, on this particular juice fast, I found this really great recipe for a shot that it's a shot because you only need 1 ounce at a time and 1 ounce a day. You basically take fresh ginger root, fresh turmeric root, you peel them, slice them, put them in a blender. You squeeze the juice of a fresh orange and a fresh lemon, and you take those 4 things, so 2 citrus and 2 roots, ginger and turmeric, and you put them into the blender and you blend it. You blend it up, and you add a little bit of water to that too. And then after you blend it, you put it through a strainer to strain the pulp out. Now, you can keep the pulp in if you like, but for me, I wanted only the juice because I didn't want my body to be digesting anything, and I kind of like it better anyway when there's not all that pulp in there. And what you do is you just keep the rest in the fridge. It'll keep for up to 2 weeks. It improves digestion. It goes after inflammation hardcore, and it will definitely make you pucker. I mean, it's a really powerful shot. I'll also put the recipe for that below this video. So I made up about a half a quart of that, and I took a shot every morning until I was done with my juice fasting. And then on the very last day, I ended up just drinking the rest of it because I wasn't going to be doing anything but water for the second half of my juice/water fast. At least that was the plan. So what I did is I ended up going for 6 days of juicing because I felt not only really good, but I felt totally ready mentally and physically to get on with the water fasting. I was just ready. I was kind of chomping at the bit a little bit, which might sound kind of crazy after not eating anything solid for almost a week, but I was just ready to jump into the water fasting. So after 6 days of juicing, I started off on the water fasting. Now, when I was juicing, I will tell you, if you've never done this before, I would say maybe do 1 day, do one 24-hour period. And then maybe in the next month, do two days. And acclimate your body, especially once you've acclimated your body to intermittent fasting. That's where I think it's super important. And what happens when I do juicing, and this is, I really want to share this with you because I think this is super, super important. I have so much energy during the day, and I sleep so good when I'm fasting, because I think we just get into this habit of just constantly eating during the day, even if we might not be paying attention, and we just snack here and there, and there's little things around, there's things maybe on the counter, there's things maybe at work, there's things that we're just we always have around us. And this water or this juice fasting thing always helps me realize and be more mindful of the things that I'm putting in my mouth and I'm not putting in my mouth. It's just so easy to fall back onto those habits. And to me, this is such a beautiful way to be more conscious of this amazing physical vessel and what it feels like to go into a deep night's sleep and just have your body's just resting and repairing. And there's nothing that you have to worry about, digesting and gas and bloating and all of the things that we get as humans. We're not supposed to feel that way. We're supposed to feel good in this physical body. So after 6 days of juicing, I went into my water fasting. Now, the first day is always the easiest for me. And then the second day actually was very easy too. And then the third day, super good. And what I ended up doing, actually ended up going for 4 full days. And then my body basically said, okay, that's it. I feel good. And I knew I was done because I got up in the morning on the 5th day and I felt a little bit dizzy. And I was like, okay. And I sat down there's a thing at the foot of my bed. And I sat down on there for a minute because I got up out of bed and I was like, oh. So I sat down and I was like, kind of tuned in. How do I feel? And I wasn't feeling like, oh, I can't wait to go eat something. I was kind of feeling like, okay, I just am feeling like I'm just done. Like, I think that the 6 days of juicing, the 4 full days of water fasting, all right, my body is telling me I'm done. So I ended up finishing with 4 full days. And one of the things that actually helped me a ton during this particular water fast was the addition of some really important minerals. And it doesn't add any calories, it doesn't take you out of autophagy, it doesn't mess up ketosis, it doesn't mess up any of these things that you're after when you're doing, for me, fasting is for longevity and mental clarity and cancer prevention and keep, getting a grip on inflammation. And there's so many reasons that I've talked about throughout this whole video of why it's important, for me personally to do fasting. So I found these great minerals, and some of you might be actually familiar with them, but I did this the whole time I was doing not just the juicing, but especially when I was doing the water fasting. So I found this little company. Many of you might have been, I think it's kind of a big company because they've been around for a while. It's called LMNT, the initials, Element, and it's basically these little packets, and I am not an affiliate for this company. I just love this product. So this has 1,000 milligrams of sodium, it has 200 milligrams of potassium, and it has 60 milligrams of magnesium. And you just put this little packet into 16 ounces of water. I have this great glass, and this is actually a packet of that in there right now because now I'm doing one of these a day, just because I think they make me feel so good, and the minerals in here are super, super important. And I'm also getting ready to go into hiking season where, keeping your electrolytes and all of these minerals in your system is just so good and so important. But to me, every time, in fact, for me, every time I was doing a glass of water during my water fasting, I would add one of these packets. And I think that made a huge difference in the way I was able to go through the whole 4 days of water fasting and just feel good. I kept all my clarity, I kept my energy up. In fact, every single day during the juice fasting and the water fasting, I exercised every single day. And it wasn't anything super hardcore. I didn't do really extra heavy weights like I normally do. I just did some type of movement. I either did my stationary bike, I did the elliptical, and I also did walking. So, and I did some, while I was doing juicing, I did lift weights while I was juicing, because I still had all of the energy that I would normally have when I'm eating, because I'm getting all the nutrition. It's just in a different form. So I hope that covered everything. So let me see. Yeah, everything I covered on here was everything I was hoping to say. I just made myself some notes in case I need to refer to them. So I'm going to put some links to the products I talked about. So the ones for the the detoxing products. This product, like I said, I'm not an affiliate for it. I just love it. Also the recipes to the two, and just keep in mind with the juicing, you can really do any recipes that fit you and your taste buds. Now for me, I like to do mostly veggies and very minimal fruit. So I will do juice a lemon in most of the juices I do, because I love what it does, the alkalinity, the taste, how it gives a nice little pop of flavor and yumminess to a vegetable juice. But I would keep your fruits to a minimum, just because you're just getting a lot of sugar and in juice form. And the goal for juicing, from my opinion, besides giving everything a rest, is that you get the dense nutrition. And vegetables give you that a lot more. So greens, extra important. My favorites, like I said, cucumbers, celery, and the romaine lettuce gives you a lot of good, green nutrients. And when you add that, maybe one apple and one lemon, that recipe alone, that's pretty much all I need. The first couple of days I did do some fresh squeezed carrots, which, that's always great to get some fresh squeezed carrot juice in you. But if you have any questions, anything that maybe you feel like I didn't cover, just know that this is, like I said, this is not my area of expertise. This is just my own personal experience with fasting for longevity, mental clarity, and overall good health. So I hope this gave you some maybe motivation to jump on the fasting bandwagon. To me, it will give you a lot of reasons to be happy in your body, because you're going to feel so good. So start with that intermittent fasting. Just start skipping meals here and there. You're not going to lose muscle mass. You're not going to mess up your metabolism. You're actually going to do your body a huge, huge favor. So thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Subscribe if you're not, and we'll talk to you soon.